Morning, guys. You should be able to hear me. Let me just check the audio. Okie dokie. Before I start, guys, it's going to be a short session, 25 to 30 minutes. I've got some things that I need to do this morning, which are a little bit important. So I'm going to be it's going to be a short session. The other thing is I am on a Mac, as I've said before, and I don't have space, I guess, until I figure it out, to be able to see the chat on the live page on YouTube. So just bear that in mind. So if you're asking any questions, I won't see them. So we are on Wednesday, 21st of February 2018. We've got a news-filled London session this morning for the Euro. We have news, and I'll do the I'll do the time difference for you. So we've got news. This is GMT time, and then I'll do New York time in a second. But we've got sort of news for the Euro at 8 o'clock GMT, 8:30 GMT, 9 o'clock GMT, and then at 9:30 we've got news for the GBP. So I'm going to be focusing on the Euro and the cable. I'll do the others quickly, but main focus is going to be on Euro and cable this morning. And that New York time, that's going to be 5 hours behind, so that's going to be 3 o'clock for the first news release, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and 4:30 news releases. So that's definitely something to be aware of. It's all medium impact news. We've got some high impact news for the GBP as well. So we should get some movement. Now, from experience, when we have, before I get into the charts, when we have news drivers, like we have on Euro today, at different times, instead of just one, okay, that isn't always a good thing in terms of injection of volatility, because it can create situations where we have potentially we mark off all our levels. We think that price is going to go one way, then it might go another way. You can get a little bit whipsawy, and I'm going to be expecting that on Euro today, whereas on cable, we only have one news driver. So in terms of trading, out of the two pairs, I'd be more inclined to take a trade on cable if it sets up the way I think it's going to set up, for example, once we go through them. So just bear that in mind. So we've got the dollar index here. Let's just go to a weekly for a second. Excuse me. And nothing's really changed, guys, to be fair. We've had this level on here for a while now, and if you notice, I always like to start with fresh charts, to redo and rehash the same stuff over and over and over again, and it kind of solidifies, what I'm personally looking at. But we've had this level marked off in previous charts before. Both myself and the other analysts, we've said. I like to say that this is a 3-week consolidation. You can see we had an up day, a down day, and an up day, and on a lower time frame, 1 hour, 4 hour. This will be a consolidation, and you can see if you trace the line as a curve, you can see we went up. We've come all the way back down, and we reacted in this area. Now, I said this in a few videos that I've done before, that we can take a guess as to why price reacted here, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. What matters is that it did, and that you anticipate price to react. And a good general rule of thumb is when you have a clearly defined consolidation, you know, generally 80 to 90% of the time when price hits that consolidation, you're going to get some sort of reaction. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a big one, but you will get some sort of a reaction, and you can expect that. And when you expect it, you know, you're not shocked by it, basically. So we've come down into this area, and we're on this week here. So if we go back sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, you know, this is almost a month of price action. We've kind of just been, you know, bouncing around in a sort of 240 pip range between 88.15 and about 90.50ish, right? So we've kind of been up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's obviously working this level. Think about what price action is actually doing. You know, we've come here and we're working this level now. It's obviously moving around within this small consolidation for a reason. You know, whether it's to facilitate trade, whether it's to, you know, accumulate, you know, more longs to distribute, you know, more longs to, you know, to accumulate positions, to sell, like to sell positions. We don't really know. We don't really know, but the point is we know that it's being worked at this level. So because we're still down here, if we drop to a lower time frame, and I'll take the box off just to make it a little bit cleaner for now. Our job as traders is to try and figure out, you know, which way is more likely to get hit first. You know, having a bias on the day is important, and not switching that bias is also important. You know, we can only do our best as traders to try and figure out which direction we think the market's going to go in. And then once we ascertain that, you know, based on our skills and our technical analysis, and in some cases fundamental analysis, you know, and then just simply wait, you know, for things to happen. We pan out our trades, you know, and we mark off what we believe is going to happen. And we mark off, if this happens, then I do this. Yeah, so and I'm going to zoom in one more because I really want to emphasize what I'm about to go through in a second. We had this previous low here, okay, so we've got a previous low here, we had a higher low, okay, and price has come up, reverse the whole move. So think about this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 day as a week. So we've had a week up, a whole week down, and now we're kind of getting another week up again. So we have a swing low here, a higher swing low. I'm going to mark this off, and you can see, and I think the fan's just kicked in on my Mac, guys, so you might hear a little bit of a whistle in the background. I hope it's not too bad. So price has come all the way back down, and we've tagged whatever stops would be resting under here. We've just tagged them on this bar here, right? And we've had some decent rejection, and we're getting some, you know, we're getting some follow through. So just based only off the daily chart right now on the dollar, sorry, where is the most likely place that price is going to end up going? You know, for me, my eye catches the two equal highs up here. And what I'll do is I'll just pop a horizontal line on there. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but, you know, in the interest of keeping things accurate, 90.45.5. So, sorry, what am I doing here? Yeah, okay, so this is where I believe the draw on price is. And I'm going to make this, we'll make it, I'm very fond of purple, guys, so I'm just going to kind of pick a medium orchid. Cool. So this is where I believe price is drawing up to. Why? Because if any longs were accumulated down here, they're going to want to offload those somewhere, possibly up here, right? So and it kind of, you can almost see that that's where Sorry guys, just having a drink. You can almost see that that's where the draw on price is going to be. So I am spending a little bit of time on the dollar because I'm trying to emphasize something which is going to roll over into the euro and the cable, or foreign currencies in general. So if we believe that this is the draw on price, and we've mapped out the reason why we believe that price has come down. It's been bearish for a while. Excuse me, it's been bearish for a while. We created a swing low point. So this candle here, we've come down. Really nice rejection off this candle. A lot of people would have been going long here. It's just a natural thing. People see this big tail. Forget all this for a second. People see this really nice tail or wick and think, oh, reversal, and everybody's long. They've got their stop down here. Yeah? The next day it comes down a little bit, up a little bit, maybe in profit just about here. Comes down, they're holding, they're fine, and then you get this really nice pop. Yeah, and the whole world opens up. It's Lamborghini time. I'm going to buy a yacht. I'm going to buy a mansion. And this causes a very nice sense of I'm right. I'm amazing. My trading is the best. Nobody can beat me. The market. I'm killing it. Basically, that's kind of the mentality that people start to go through. And these are just individual traders. Obviously, you have massive institutions and banks and so on that facilitate trade and they buy and sell and they do all that sort of stuff. But I'm trying to get into the head of a trader who thinks that way, just to illustrate the point I'm going to make in a second. So, our happy trader is basically in the market. He's making some money and he's really, really happy, right? And the market starts to come back down, and this candle here doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's irrelevant. And this is a lesson and level. I will go through some levels, guys. Don't worry, and you'll see why in a second. On this candle, happy trader's thinking, yeah, he's pulling back a little bit, but it's no big deal. There's no swing point for me to bring my stop up to. Even on a lower time frame, it's fine. I'm happy. Next day, market opens, but it goes up. And Mr. Happy Trader's thinking, yep, this is great. I'm going to get a nice breakout, and off it goes. But it doesn't. You get this really nice move down. And it's at that point where he's thinking, I'm going to get out, or she, I'm going to get out, but I don't want to because it was up here. I was, for argument's sake, $1,000 in profit or £1,000 in profit, and now I'm only £300 in profit. And instead of thinking, well, £300 still good enough, I want my 1,000 because it was 1,000. Then it comes down. Nah, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I won't get stopped out. And at this point, you're at a loss because obviously entry's probably up here, and at this point, you're at a loss. Next day opens up. Yep, everything's good again. Gets tagged, gets stopped out. So whoever was long, whether here, and this is not always the case because obviously some people take profits, but those stops have been tagged. So that whole story really was just to illustrate the orders have been tagged down here, right, on this candle. So when you get orders that are tagged like this or stops that are taken out, and then you get some rejection, if it followed through again and came back down, then fine. You can say, well, there's obviously more stops down there, or there's more trade that needs to be done down there, there's more accumulations of longs, there's more selling going on, whatever. It doesn't really matter. The point is, if it did come back down, then great, but it didn't. You had the next day, and now we're on this day here. So we're getting some really nice follow through after the stops were taken, which means those orders that were taken down here and any positions that were accumulated down here need to be offloaded somewhere, right? And this is where I believe prices can end up going because, that's a good 225 pips. So whoever's doing this, whether it's naturally occurring or whether it's purposely created, again, doesn't really matter. The draw on price for me is here. So I'm going to mark that off. I'll just put I don't know, anything. Just a little down arrow, say, for argument's sake. So, we'll just do it that way. So there's what I believe the draw on price is going to be. I'm just thickening this up a little bit. Yeah, do you know what? Sorry, I don't like that. I'm being a bit fussy, but I'll just stick a little box on there, it's fine. And we'll extend it actually so we can see. So this is where the draw and price theoretically should be, right? Just check the mean threshold of that candle. Yeah, we're about there now. So if we're going to get any rejection, it's going to be here. But I don't think that's the case. I think we're going for these levels. So I'm starting the day with a bullish bias, right, on dollar, and I'm not going to change my mind. You know, it's a bullish bias for me on dollar. Done. And because it's a bullish bias, I'm going to pop over to the euro. And yeah, that is an absolute mess. What is going on? Must have been from the previous session. I'm sure I had a different chart. Yeah, no, I can't use that template. 1 second. Just do it this way. Cool. And we'll pop the old lines up. So, same sort of scenario, but obviously reversed or inverse. Okay, we have our high up here, and again, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I know I did somewhere, and it might have been in a live session or maybe in a chat post or something. But a trader that I know once said to me that trading is basically a few lines in a box. Yeah, and it's always stuck in my mind because I really like the simplicity of that answer. You know, trading really is simply a few lines, you know, and a box, you know, or a few lines and a, you know, you don't need to overcomplicate things to understand, you know, or to take trades. You really don't. You know, we can clearly see it's the inverse of what we've just been discussing on the dollar. We had this, you know, nice move up tail, come all the way back up here, and we've tagged the stops here, and then now again, as with the dollar, you know, I'm going to be looking for a low of 122.052. So this is going to be the draw on price down here. Look it up. So we've got our bias, okay, and we'll do the cable as well quickly. Okey-doke. Cable's a little bit more interesting. So actually, before I go to the cable, let me just go back to euro for a second. So we've mapped out where we believe we're going to be going. So I'm bullish dollar, okay, for now, and for today, and until I see something to the contrary, obviously. And I'm bearish euro USD, and I believe we have a good, so far, about another 100, let's call it 120 pips to the downside still to go. It's Wednesday, so for a weekly range, that's more than doable for euro, you know, based on its weekly ADR. So, and that's the average daily range. So bearish, excuse me, bearish on the euro. So we have a bearish bias. What does that tell us in terms of potential entries? We're obviously going to be looking for shorts, and there's a couple of spots. I'm just going to go ahead, guys, and mark everything off, okay, where price could potentially bounce from or move from. What I'd like to end up seeing is, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky on euro because of the news releases. So, you know, we have a small cluster here down candle, up candle, and then the low is taken on this candle. So we're going to mark this area off. And if anybody knows anything about supply and demand, you know, just think of it as supply and demand basically. So we kind of have, or support resistance, supply and demand. I know they're slightly different concepts, but this is the area where we could get. And what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to change the colours of these so we can really make a point of knowing the difference. I don't like light salmon. We'll do thistle. Oh, where is it? Sorry guys, it's there. So there's that one. And these aren't exact guys, but they'll do for now. And then we have it obviously a low down here as well that needs to go through as well. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. Okay. So yeah, there's a couple of things that we can map out here. And again, I know I keep saying it over and over again, but just again be mindful. We have 3 news events for Euro, so we could get a lot of whipsawing on this, or we could get nothing. You know, I've been times when I've seen it do nothing at all. So this is one scenario that could potentially happen. We get a run up first, which is more preferable, okay, because you can get a better price. Because remember, we're starting with a bearish bias on Euro USD, you know. And because we're starting with a bearish bias, any move up is sellable, yeah. And really think about what I've just said. It's not many traders, even beginning traders, even intermediate traders, you know, or people who've been trading for a while, you know, don't understand what having a bias actually means. You know, they think, well, I'm bearish, I'm just going to sell. I'm biased, sorry, I'm bullish, I'm just going to buy. It's a bit deeper than that. We have a bearish bias, you know, and that is a solid bias. It's not something that we just haphazardly said, well, we're just bearish today, so to hell with it. We're just going to sell everything. You know, it doesn't matter where price is. We're bearish. It's a strong bias. We've done our analysis. We've done our, you know, markups. We believe that, you know, price is going to be reaching for this blue area down here. So because of that, we shouldn't be afraid of a move against us, you know, against that bias. We actually want that because it's, you can get in for a cheaper price. You know, sure, it might just rip straight down there, and if it does, then that's just the way it is. That happens as well. But we map out our trades, and we have to stay disciplined in, you know, our trading, and make sure that we're only taking trades that make sense. So one of the scenarios could be we get a nice little pop-up, which would be about 43 pips. You know, and remember the average daily range for Euro, guys, is around about 100, 110 pips, sometimes 120. You know, so it's between 90 and 120 pips, okay, as an average. So, you know, going up 40 pips first and then ripping to the downside, it's not going to go up here unless it's really volatile. You know, rip 40 pips and then go like what would then be 140 pips to 160 pips lower. Yeah, you've got to remember the average daily ranges as well. It plays an important, you know, important part in your trading. So we rip up. If it doesn't do this, we could, of course, just go straight down. We'll have Thursdays and Fridays trading as well, guys. So I'm factoring that in as well. So we could also have something like this. Straight move down, retest, and then a lower move, okay, to our final destination, so to speak. 122 big figure basically. So that's another scenario. So the 3 scenarios really that we have are a move up first, then a drop. So we're looking for a sell in this area, a straight move down, which if that happens, then obviously there's nothing we can do about it. We'll probably just miss the move, or a move down, take out this swing low, get stopped by this consolidation a little bit because price worked here for a while, retest, and then ultimate move lower. So these are the three scenarios that I'm going to be looking at today. Preferably I'd like a move up first, take a little short up here, and then try and capture as much of the move as we can. And obviously, if something does pan out, we'll stick it in the trade signals as normal. So I'll just pop over to the pound, and this is the daily of the pound. This is a little bit trickier, this one, because you can see that the pound is kind of been grinding higher. I'll just show you the difference between the pound and the euro. You can see it's a really nice uptrend. There's a reason I'm expecting lower prices. But don't get me wrong, listen guys, this should just go straight up from here, but obviously we mapped it out this way. I'm bearish on Euro USD. So you can see we had this really nice pop up. Again, took the stops. Now I'm moving lower, and this is where I'm expecting ultimately for price to go. Whereas if you look at cable simply isn't like that. Cable didn't go up as far up as possible. Now you could say, well, it's showing relative weakness, which is what I've said before. But I've also seen cable do this before, where it's playing catch up, and then you just get a rip, and it just smashes everything in one day. I've seen that happen with cable so many times, over the years. So it would not surprise me if this just rip roars to the upside today. But the structure of cable is different, so we have to kind of be a little bit cautious with this. And it's a little bit trickier to kind of figure out where price is probably going to end up being drawn to. If we go down the relative weakness road, we could say it didn't go up as high. There's some things on this chart, guys, that I can see, but I can't discuss them because they're proprietary. But there's, in terms of what we see, but there's, the easiest way that I can map it out for you is, we have. Let me drop to a 4 hour, and I'll just see if I can show you a little bit easier. So, yeah, that doesn't help at all. Okay, look, we'll do it like this. We have a 2-bar. Big bar up, pops, comes down, stayed in this area a little while, up, down, and we've reacted here. So if you look at the reaction point, you go back, you can see that it reacted here. So we're making a note of this. There's a reason it did. Doesn't matter why. Nobody knows why. But it reacted here, and we're starting to kind of ease off a little bit, but not too much. You can see we're having, this nice reaction, but then we had kind of, small bodied days, indecision days, dojis, whatever you want to call them. So we're stuck. Not stuck, but we're kind of just grinding in this area. It's quite a tight range as well, which leads me to believe that we're probably going to get at some point this week a really nice move on cable. But I've said, I don't know if I've mentioned it again in one of the live sessions, but look at the reaction point here. We go back and we can see that this kind of mess, this wiki mess here, is another point where we've reacted from, and price is now stuck between these 2 points. And when price gets like this, it becomes very, very tricky to trade. What time is it? 5:35. Okay. It becomes very tricky to trade, because if it goes up, it's bumping its head up against here. If it goes down, it's bumping its head against this one. So it's a little bit more trickier to try and figure out which one of these two it's going to go through, and where the liquidity pools lie. So what we'll do, we'll just mark off previous high. And the lowest low in this range. And at the minute we're closer to the top than we are to the bottom. That can play a factor. News releases ages away yet, so we may get some favourable price action that will give us, or at least tip us off to which direction price is probably going to end up going. But whatever inefficiencies there are on cable have pretty much been filled in, and pretty much been rebalanced. Prices is balanced. You can see that prices, working these areas, very whipsawy, but most of the price action within these areas has all been, it's balanced price action. I'll just say it that way. So do you know what? We may very well get a pop on this today. Just looking at this, just from experience, yeah. I'm not too sure. I don't want to put anything out there for cable just yet. This is going to be something that I'm going to have to watch during the news release, not at the news release, but a little bit before, maybe half an hour before the news release. And if I see something of value, obviously I'll put it out in the chat room, in the subsequent trade signal room, if there's a trade signal that forms. But for now, I'm going to kind of leave it and just say, well, because remember, this is the daily, guys. Obviously, we're talking about, move out of the way, about 153 pip range, about 155 pips still to the upside, and obviously more to the downside. It may do that in one day, but sorry, who's that? Sorry guys, just give me 1 second. Something's just happened on my phone. 1 sec. No, it's alright guys, it's just I think Instagram have changed the way that they do something on their phone. On their notifications, sorry, so it just said something that I just found a bit weird. I was like, it said that I've just started a live session, and it's like, as in on my phone, a different Instagram group that I have, just a personal one. I'm thinking I'm not doing a live session, but like not a live session, sorry, but like a live stream or something. Anyway, sorry. So, just drop down to a 4 hour and see how close. Okay. Just thicken this up a little bit. Do you know what, guys? We could very well get something like this. We could get something like this on cable. And remember, guys, you know what? Let me just say this now really quickly. When we mark off these levels and you see that we put these lines just to kind of show where we think price is going to go. Just to make it really clear, we're not saying that price may potentially come down here and then rip 200 something pips. Obviously we're just kind of showing where we believe, or what we believe price could do. Yeah. So I know some people might get confused or misunderstand that we're expecting like a 200 pip rip. We're not, But it would make sense, just based on the price structure, that we could get a move to 139.20, maybe slightly lower, between 139.10 to 139.20, and then reverse and have a nice little move higher. We could also, very similar to very similar to the euro. Just have a straight move down, or again, but I wouldn't expect this one I'm about to show now, because price isn't really conducive. It doesn't really make any sense that it would do this in terms of the way that price is structured right now. But again, get something like the following. A continuation to the downside. Maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna wait, guys, for I'm gonna wait for the closer to the news release before I do anything with cable, to be honest. Well, from the hourly, yeah, you see things changing. What in the world is that? I've got the wrong one. Possibly something like this as well. When it's like this, guys, I don't force it. I'm not forcing this at all. You know, I'm just kind of mapping things out, just kind of see. So whatever stops we would have residing here, nice little put higher, 50 pips or so. It's quite a lot, to be fair. But we could get a whip up there, and then maybe a reversal. But again, as well, guys, you know what I mean? Don't forget that when these news releases come out, so you can trade around the news releases. Some people think news releases are, well, you shouldn't do that. It's crazy. It's volatile. You know, it's not at all. If you're driving, if you're driving down the road in a car really fast and you know that there's traffic lights coming up 3 miles ahead, you're aware of them. You know they're there. So obviously you're going to you're going to put your brakes on way before. You're going to start to slow down way before you get to those traffic lights. You're not going to try and do it right at the last second. Some people might, but you get what I'm saying. We have a bias. We've mapped everything out today, so we're not going to be surprised when the news comes out. That's the thing. You know what I mean? If you can take away the element of surprise in the marketplace, it can't do anything to you. So I'm going to wait with cable and see what happens with this one closer to the time. And like I said, if I see something. But what I was going to say before that was, after the news release, you can always get a news release, price moves in a certain direction, and you wait. You wait for it to do whatever it's going to do. And for example, you obviously know that I'm very big on rejection. I keep talking about rejection all the time. Let's say we get a really nice green bar all the way up here. And then we get immediate reversal on the next bar. Yeah, this is a 4 hour, but just imagine it's say like a 15-minute. Going to rip up here and then a reversal, and we end up back down here and it clears the bar. Well, that's for me. I've just waited maybe an extra half an hour after news release to give me, so much more confidence that price is probably going to end up coming down here. So there's really no rush. There's really no rush at all. So for cable, we're going to be waiting for news release. Obviously, we've mapped out what we believe is going to happen on, on the euro. I'll just have a quick check. This, I'm not even going to bother with this. Euro GBP is really annoying me a lot. It's just literally stuck in this horrible range. So I'm not even going to discuss that. Let's just get rid of all this lot. This would have been from the last live session, I think. And again, same thing, guys. We've got a consolidation up here, and we've got a mess down here, and we're stuck between these 2 points, which I remember now. I remember I did go through this. But just based off the bias that we have for, and this is a good way away. But this is really clean up here. 200. That's not too bad. 260 pips. We may at some point this week. Let me see what it's like on the weekly. Yeah, we may very well come up here and tag all this. Let me just see something. 1 second, guys. No. Sorry, and I'm flicking charts. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we may come up here this week. Let me just check the news releases for CAD, guys. 1 sec. It's 3 o'clock this afternoon. Got some news for the US dollar, FOM minutes this evening. Which could move price around a little bit. We've got tomorrow. We've got core retail sales, which is high impact, and retail sales, which is medium impact for for the CAD tomorrow, and then crude oil inventories as well. So that's Thursday, packed day. Yeah. You see, there's a lot of news coming out Thursday and Friday for Canadian dollar, so definitely something to keep an eye on. Not for now, not for today, but tomorrow. For me personally, the focus is going to be on Canadian dollar. So basically, the Luna USD CAD Thursday and Friday. But I imagine, just based off the weekly, this is probably where we're going to end up. I think that's what I'd like to see. $129.20. Yeah, $129.20. Japanese yen. For you guys out there that really like your fibs, theoretically this is in a place where it could potentially be, you know, as a sell, but I think with the dollar strength and Japanese yen strength as well, so as in don't really like this one in terms of market structure, because and I said this in the other session, in the last session I did. What would have been last week. Obviously, we didn't have this price action, but we had a much deeper retracement than the other pairs, you know, and we've taken out whatever area of stops or liquidity would have been here with this, you know, in this 2 days. And we've had this really nice move, and then we had this really sharp move down, complete reversal, and now we're coming back into again what could potentially be a buy. So we may get that move on dollar, and this is interesting. If the dollar gets up to that liquidity pool that we mentioned, while Aussie USD kind of stabilizes around here, then I think we're going higher on Aussie USD. And if you look at the monthly, I still think we're going up here. I know this is a ways away, but it's just, I like to have it in mind. And I've said this again over and over and over again, 81.65 or so, sorry, 81.70. I still think we're going up here. You know, it would make sense. This is in a perfect place for buyers to step in. Excuse me, guys. For buyers to step in. But I'm going to monitor this one and see how she fares. We'll get a move on dollar, and then we'll see where we fare with that one. And then the pound USD. Sorry, the pound Japanese yen, I still think we're going down here. I'm going to keep saying it until it gets there. I mean, listen, man, it might rip from here and I never see 147, but I don't think that's going to be the case at all. I think we're going, I'm not really sure what this line is, but I think we're going lower on this, again, because of the Japanese yen strength. You know, of recent moves. There is something interesting that I do want to show you on this. It's probably going to show up on the hourly a little bit better. The hourly, the 4 hour. 15 minute. I'll tell you what it is. It's because I don't have the. It makes it a little bit easier to see. 30 minute. Yeah, I'll show you on the 15 minute. Just come out one more. This is no, it was okay yesterday, but it's fine. So look at the range we've got to work with, guys, from where we are right now. It's like 370 pips for the pound Japanese yen. That's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. And I'm trying to get into this somehow, you know. And when I see it, obviously I'll let you know. But we're obviously grinding higher a little bit for now. May see 151 to to 150, 140, and then potentially get a reversal. But I'm happy to wait for it to get up there, do its thing, show us an indication it wants to go lower, and then get in, and then see if I can hold for a larger move. But I'll update you as I go on this one. Alright guys, so I'm going to shoot off. That's where we are for our trading today, or potential trading. This is today's action, the 15-minute, yeah. So that's where we are for today's potential trading. Obviously, be mindful of the news releases when they come out. And I do have to shoot off. I'm actually running a little bit late now, but it's cool. And I'll catch up with you guys in the next live session next week. Obviously, we're going to have more live sessions this week, but I myself do the Wednesdays, so I'll see you guys on next Wednesday, and obviously in the chat as well. Alright guys, so take care. Have a great trading day. I'll speak to you soon.